Test.
Chocolate chip. 2 1 2.
Mhm. Yeah. We'll start a work session in 2 minutes. Ms. Barnes. Barnes. We're
Hello. Can you
test.
hear me?
Listen, you might be talking. We'll share. We'll share.
Sherry might whiz in.
All right, we're going to call the work session of White County Board of Education for July 9th, 2026 to order. Appreciate everyone being here. We're going to go through our consent agenda items and talk through some of those. As you notice, there's a lot of policy, and we want to make sure we do a thorough job explaining what's being recommended we consider tonight for that. So we'll go through that. Just a couple of notes. Ms. Officer informed me that there is no budget report because the county's trying to close up the books from last month. So we'll duplicate. We'll have that in our August meeting. So August meeting will cover both the end of 2026 or 2025, and then start this new year as well. So we'll forego that in our discussion tonight, and then when we get through consent agenda items, we'll if there's anything else on the agenda that we need to discuss, we'll take time to do that as well. So first item is going through the minutes from both our work session, our board meeting from the month of June. So take this time if there's any questions, corrections, clarifications that need to be made to that. We'll consider that this time.
I just have a quick question. How is everybody liking the AI version of the minutes? Miss Sims, you like it?
So one thing I did notice on that does seem like there are some in the work session minutes, does look like there's some electronic gibberish in there. So not sure about that. For example, the amendments. Yeah, something there. Formatting seems to be might need to be some correction there, just to clean that up. think the information's there, it just a little bit busy to read. Okay, anything on the work session minutes or the our regular meeting minutes? Okay. All right, then we'll move on then to policy. So you're provided in your in the folder. You see we have numerous policies that come from TSBA, where it's being recommended that we either revise or create policy based on legislation that came out of from the state that went into effect on July 1st. So that information was provided to you also with the highlighted explanations of what that consists of. So we can approach this and go through and just do a summary of all the policies and just mention them. If there's any questions about a deeper dive that we need to take in that, we can certainly do so. Otherwise, some of this is just clerical in nature. Some of it does have, there are some things that there's some expediency that these things need to be in place prior to start of our school year. So when you look at the consent agenda, in the policy report, we have recommended policies that we would forego the second reading to get them in place immediately, and then we do have several policies that we would consider on first reading tonight, and then we can come back and revisit them on during our August meeting. So we'll go through, if you'd like, we'll just go through the policy recommendation. 1400 regarding school board meetings deals with giving flexibility during natural disaster and inclement weather. Questions on that? 1403, providing public notice of our board agendas at least 48 hours in advance. We actually provide those 3 days in advance. Questions on that?
That was going to be my question. I thought we were already doing it 3 to 5 days in advance. Are you
yes, we're stating in our meetings, and we're working towards having those 3 days in advance. That's correct.
Sounds great.
1404, I'm sorry, I'll move on. Any other questions on 1403? 1404, appearances and appeals to the board, that we have already enacted that, allowing public comment or anything that's germane or relative to the board's jurisdiction. So we put that in place when that went into effect. So we already have policy already covers that, and I do cover that in our introductory comments. 1905 charter schools renewal, that's just guidance on our responsibilities for providing notice on charter schools, whether schools on track or off track. 2100 fiscal management goals. We have a comptroller recommendation. That is a first reading policy for tonight, so we can study on that, come back and discuss that next meeting. But basically it puts a requirement on the director to go back and have some processes in place to just ensure that we have internal controls on our revenues, and I'm sure he would be working with Mr. Markham on that. First reading policy, annual operating budget. So another comptroller recommendation, and so it recommends that the board include a provision on the fund balance and encourage the board to select this amount in consultation with their local funding body. we have to provide that information to the signed by the director and the commissioner, and has to also go to the state, report that to the Office of Research and Accountability, the Comptroller Office. Is that something, Mr. Markham, that we do now, or that's something that we're going to have a procedure in place to do going forward? Or do you do something similar?
We have an existing fund balance policy that applies to all the counties, but all the county funds, but this would apply specifically to the school funds.
So in a sense, we're already doing that based on your existing policy.
Right, yes.
So now we're just stating that in our policy.
And it
And,
matches that 10%,
Okay.
yeah.
all right, thank you. 4213, updates to the policy for regarding child trafficking and instructions, as that is a component of health education, and then for us to develop a plan to implement this instruction by August 1st. So again, reason why we need to act on that this evening. 4215, instructional use of digital devices, and that's policy just prioritizing teacher-led instruction for non-electronic instruction materials for K through 5. Hearing a lot of studies coming out now that they're saying that electronic devices may not be the best way to encourage memory retention. The good old pencil and paper still pretty effective. Questions, comments on that? 4301, this is one that where allows students attending private schools permitted to participate in interscholastic athletics accordance to the TSAA and TMSA guidelines. So I think we're already allowing that as well. So no big change for us there. 4600 grading system. So if you're taking high school courses in middle school, that you're going to be graded on the high school grading scale. Anything else we want to add to that? And then it's if you score exceed expectation on the 7th grade TCAP, you're going to have to go to Algebra 1 in 8th grade rather than the general math. Is that correct? (4603) promotion and retention. This is providing optional pathways for students to be promoted to fourth grade. Is there anything on that you'd like to speak to that we should be aware of? How policy? Okay. So basically going with the recommendation for TSBA unless otherwise stated. 4605 speaks to early graduation requirements and options for them to it adds a testing option as an option for students with wishing to graduate early on the pathway. So it also requires the director of schools to report the total number of move-on requests to the Department of Education.
I guess I do have a question on early grad. That still counts towards our graduation rate as far as the state goes, even though they leave in December, and we still get credit for those folks all the way through May of their senior year, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What, do you have any idea what our graduation rate was this past year?
It was 98.6. Yeah, it was very high.
Very high.
So it's good. Yeah, and we had, how many, 55, some early grads somewhere in that area, but we do get funding for the whole year for
Okay.
those students.
All right, thank you.
I have a question also. Is there any way, do we check anything like after they early graduate, what they go on to do starting in January or, I mean, does the state require anything of that
No,
nature?
that's part of what the AIRS Foundation is doing now, is that part of, they have the ability to track and the time to track. That's part of their project, is to track those folks. So we'll be getting more data on that as time moves forward.
Good, thank you.
Okay, next two policies, 5200 and 5201, regarding separation practice for tenured and also separation practices for non-tenured teachers. (5303) regarding personal and professional leave for employees. Anything you want to speak to on that?
Well, I did want to go back. I
Oh,
think
I'm
we
sorry,
might have
go ahead.
skipped 5106, and then I certainly want to address
Oh, I'm sorry.
5110 because that's been moved to new business this
That's
evening.
right.
So 5106, I think, is where we.
I'm
left off,
sorry.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I did skip that. Yeah, 5106 now requires that as districts use E-Verify program to ensure eligibility for work. That was previously an option, but now it's going to be a requirement. And then, yes, the 5110, that's compensation guides and contracts. Basically, what this does, it adds language to allow the board to compensate in the event of a death, teacher's estate, or beneficiary for any unused leave time that they have.
It was left off this list.
That was discovered not being on our foregoing second reading, and so we moved that to new business. So just be mindful of that when we get to that part of our agenda. So pick back up with 5303, personal and professional leave.
Be glad to speak to that if you'd like.
Absolutely, please.
So basically, this is allowing our employees to use some of their sick leave for personal leave. So 10-month employees will now earn 8 sick days, and they can use 2 additional days now for leave. So basically, it's going to be 8 plus 5. So a 10-month employee, which is a teacher, will have 8 sick days plus available 5 personal days. That's 2 and 2 per semester, and then White County gives a local day. So that's a total of 5 personal days that they'll have access to. So it's 8 and 5 for a 10-month employee. It's 9 and 5 for an 11-month employee, and 10 and 5 for a 12-month employee.
Break down everything past a 10 months. So 11-month employee, or is that your supervisors?
Yes, and yes, supervisors and most principals.
Okay, and then 12-month would be you and
Well, it's not really me. I have a different contract because I'm super special. But Mr. Alley and Mr. Wilson at the high school, I think maybe are only 12-month employees
Okay,
in that regard.
super special.
And then I'm not super special. That was sarcasm for those listening on radio. And those don't have to be used that way. If they're not used, they're credited back to sick leave at the end of the year. Will that include the local? Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that. The question was if it's always been if you don't use it, you get $25 for that local day. So we really encourage people to use it. We might need to discuss that moving forward, that if they don't use it, that it would be credited back because it'd be worth more to them in TCRS than it would be for $25. So.
All right, thanks for that clarification. Let's see. All right, so next that takes us to 5600. That's rights and responsibilities of staff. Basically, it's updating code of conduct that teachers refrain from any type of romantic or intimate behavior with a student who's graduated or withdrawn for preceding 12 months. So that is what would be going in place, added to our policy. Questions on that? Comments? Okay, then moving on to 5801, Director of Schools Recruitment and Selection. This allows the board to conduct executive sessions to interview candidates for directors of schools if they so chose. The voting deliberation would still be done in an open meeting. And it specifies that you still have to take minutes of that executive session. All right, so moving on, the 6200. So 6200. Basically is just attendance. If you have a student that's transferring mid-year, that my understanding from this policy is basically that we would provide that information to the transferring schools, or it would be provided to us. Is that correct?
It's just to make sure that the incoming school applies the absences of the previous school. It's just to keep someone from moving schools to try and avoid truancy issues, and makes them accountable at their new school for their previous absences.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Strombarger. Questions on 6200? 6202 is homeschool provision requiring actions if homeschool student fell below grade level. That was previously stated in law, and it's that has been removed as a portion of the statute. And then the new law also allows the types of tests that may be administered at home schools and gives parents the option to select standardized testing. So policies will be updated to comply with those laws. Next, student assignments. Basically, principal is going to have some additional responsibility for safety plan if there is a student with an order of protection against another student. So that will be added to language added to our policy 6205. Hope that doesn't have to be acted on. 6303. Basically, it's going to require orientation and training for individuals who may conduct searches that would be authorized by principal, and that's going to be a requirement that they have to complete training and orientation for such searches. Moving on, 6306, interference and disruption of school activities. Basically, you're saying that we have a policy for alerting parents when a classroom evacuation occurs, in response to another student's behavior. I think we have the means for that, but now we're going to be required to do that. Something optional up to this point. 6318 gives the district the opportunity, the right to continue an investigation of a student for disciplinary reasons, even if that student withdraws, and it then also will address the consequences that might resume it if that student chooses to re-enroll. So next one is 64053. That's outside applied behavior analyst therapy. So we have policy, and this is going to come up in our new business because this policy will apply to what's an item in new business because we do have outside entities come in and provide this service, but basically we have to have a memo of understanding for our policy should have specified that when those providers access property, that they're under a contract with the parents and guardians, and they have a memo of understanding with us. And so the contract would be with parents. We have a memo of understanding. Example of that is included in your packet. And I appreciate Mr. Drumbarger put a very thorough packet together that also includes expectations, and we can enforce things like dress code policies for those that are coming into our facilities. You want to expand on that?
Yeah, I want to pass along the credit to Dr. Davis, who worked hard on that to align this with this policy, and that is in your packet. It's been added, and it's under new business if you want to take a look at that, board members. The MOU, the reason for the hasty application is because we'll start school, and we want to go not only address the new ABA services that might be coming in, but we're going back to our current vendors that we work with and getting an updated version at MOU. They will sign an agreement that stipulates what we expect on both sides, and there's exit clause terms in there as well if we need to terminate that relationship. So just putting under policy and under very good guidance from our side of what the expectations are in a process that we were already doing in our schools.
All right, yeah, echo that. Thank you, Ms. Davis, for helping us with that policy. Next is 6412A, and it's emergency response plan. Basically, gives the district the option to that epinephrine may be purchased in various forms, not just auto injectors. So that seems more to be clerical than anything. Been coming down. Okay.
Hey, I do have a quick question there. Something Ms. Douglas and I were just mentioning. Can a child carry an EpiPen with them throughout the day, or does that be something that is with the nurse at all times?
I think they can have it. It has to be in their health plan or in an IEP or in a 504, depending on what's in the plan, but it would have to be designated that they just can't bring it in without permission.
All right. Sounds great. Yeah. Okay. Right. Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, and then finally, and this is should conclude our foregoing first reading policies, and that's 6506, and it's student from military families. Basically, they've got, provide a, information within 1 calendar year, and then us take appropriate steps to get them back on their plans, IEPs, 504s, or other service plans. And and then if they relocate outside of the district, and then re-enrolls in the grades 11 through 12, they enroll in the same high school that same high school until they either graduate or withdraw. So that's language that come from legislation that we would include in our policies. So you've had the opportunity to view the model policy. You see the statutes that are driving this. So those policies have been recommended by our director to forego first, second reading and go into effect upon our approval. So therefore, they can administration can get prepared for these, as some of them are already in effect or will take in effect before at the start of the school year. Any questions on that?
Yeah, I want to go back to policy 6.303, the questioning students and the searches. It's talking about has to be authorized by the principal. Is that not something that would go through our SRO that's in the building, or is this an educational search? I mean, it seems to me that would be a law enforcement.
So last year, the law changed and said that only principals could do those searches. And the problem was the principal wasn't always available to do the search. Might be out of the building, might be in a meeting. And so this allows them to give training to someone else that they designate in the building. It has to be trained and approved by the principal to do so. So there's obviously the SROs assist in those searches. They're there to witness. If it's criminal activity, then obviously the SROs would be involved. But if it's just a search that's not criminal of nature, initially it would rely on the schools to do that. And this clarifies how that's done.
Okay, so basically, okay. So basically, this is just giving the principal the authority to either the assistant principal or someone in his and under his supervision, that they can train them and they can be the next go-to point, whether that be a teacher or a secretary or assistant principal, whatever that would be. Correct. Okay, thank you.
Good question. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. All right. Anything else regarding our policy report? So if there's a policy that you think needs further discussion, have questions on, we'll pull that out, add it to a new business item if you so choose. Otherwise, it'll be part of our consent agenda and be approved upon passing. All right, so next is on our consent agenda is our budget report. As mentioned, we don't have that available tonight. We'll be reviewing that next meeting. Then next item would be budget amendments and transfers. So it looks like we have three. We got to speak with those.
Yes, we have three items of incoming funds. We have some grant funds coming in from preschool grant funds coming into Fund 142, from federal projects $7,500. We also have some CTE Perkins Reserve money in amount of $50,000 coming in to 142, and then also in 142 Federal Projects Fund, CTE Perkins Basic in the amount of $75,311.61. So those are all grant fund monies that will be coming into those programs and used in the upcoming school year.
Any questions regarding our budget amendments? Okay, if not, you also have been provided your personnel report, which includes personnel changes for through June, as well as the applicants for the month of June, which are applicants for calendar year to date 2026. Any questions regarding our personnel report? All right, moving on. No threat assessment reports for this meeting. So that would move into TLN report. Mr. Smith, do you have anything for us on that?
Nothing to report, sir.
All right, thank you. Then finally, in our consent agenda is fundraiser requests. We do have a few fundraiser requests that have been included. Yeah, you know, compared to some numbers, yeah, that's a few.
It's sarcasm for those listening on radio.
So I guess the question as we head into this and we get these, all these have gone through proper channels administratively and from the director for review approval with your signatures, or anything there that would cause you come into question that you'd want to bring to our attention.
No, just the sheer volume. I'm still not satisfied with the number that we have. We still have some groups that are well-meaning, but there's still 4, 5, 6 fundraisers per that group. I'd rather see them do one good one than 5 or 6. I feel like that's a real tax, pun intended, on the community. And so, yeah, we still have room to grow there. I recognize that. I don't think there are any that are unreasonable. I think they're well-serving, well-deserved, and well-intentioned, I should say. But there's just a sheer volume we need to work on. So I'll be working with our athletic director and our school principals. And it's in select areas. There's some groups that we need to get in a better shape. So I acknowledge that, and we'll work to do better.
Questions, comments? I would like to thank all the administrators who filled out the fundraising request form correctly, including the information that regarding their accounts, their fund balance accounts, and so that we can understand their financial positions. Some of them may have been omitted inadvertently, but for the most part, it seems like there was a good contingent of administrators and requests that came in that did provide that information. I think that's healthy to know. Yeah, if you've got a healthy fund balance and you're wanting to do a fundraiser, as director said, just to do a fundraiser, you should probably be looking at spending those balances down before you move to raise more money.
Also, board members, did want to note that these fundraiser requests came in before the board awarded our schools money. So they had requested to do a fundraiser before some of that high performance bonus money was handed out. So their fund balances are pretty healthy after that distribution. So these fundraisers were already in there. So they may continue on with that fundraiser, but if they have a healthy balance, I may suggest that they forego one maybe next year if it's not needed.
So just for revision control, just go back and encourage everyone to use the same form. Or if you have a form that's the forms should all be the same. Should contain the same information. You wouldn't expect to see a request 26012 to come in various revisions. So just encouraged to try to look at that. All right. Any other questions, comments regarding the fundraiser requests that are before us tonight? Okay. So, if not, those are the items that'll go into our consent agenda.
Mr. Chair,
And
can I-
yes, sir, Mr. Smith.
I don't know if that's on. Just to clarify, under policy report B2, we didn't go through those individually, correct? And they're not,
Those
They're-
are first reading policies,
Okay.
so we're going to approve them on first reading tonight. You were provided that information for the meeting to review, but we will give the opportunity to review again prior to the second meeting. We can have deliberation if needed on those if you so choose.
thank you.
Now I would speak to those quickly if I could. 2100 deals with, says recent guidance from the Comptroller's Office recommends board require an annual internal control review. So we'll have time to study that one for next month. And then those that are in 7B22, those all deal with gender pronouns. And so there are changes to current policies just to make that work and make those match. So those are listed in this update as well, this summary, but they all had to do with current policies, just changing the wording to fit the gender application.
Good question. Anything else? Any other questions, comments? All right, so just going through the rest of the agenda for tonight. Just want to bring to your attention a couple things. Ms. Sackett's not going to be able to join us tonight, so we'll move past item 8 when that comes to when we get to that portion of our agenda. We will be talking right after the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting, director's contract. So that will be first. We're required to that be a first item on the agenda, and so we think we have that properly placed. And the new business items that came in was volleyball fundraiser request, and then the MOU with for the therapist partnership. And then, of course, as we mentioned, moving policy 5110, which was omitted from our in our policy report, and that would be a second reading. For a second reading omission. All right. Anything else for members we need to discuss at this time? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn and reconvene at 6 o'clock for a regular meeting. Thank you.
This is your 2-minute warning.
All right, this is your 30-second warning.
Wait a minute.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the July 9th meeting of the White County School Board, Board of Education to order. Board members recently passed legislation that'd be Public Chapter 710, allows us for the option of opening our meeting with prayer by member. If there's no objection, I would ask that you allow me to pray as we get started for our meeting. All right, no objection. Let's bow. Father, we're thankful for this beautiful day and this beautiful community that we live in. We thank you for the opportunity to serve, and we thank you for your power and grace that blesses us all. Father, we ask you to be with us in our meeting tonight as we consider things for the district and ultimately the community. We ask for your wisdom and decisions that we make them in the best interest for those that we serve. Father, we do ask a special blessing on the family of the Craig Lynn's family, and just pray that you'll be with them in this time of grieving. We thank you for the service that he provided to this district. Father, we thank you for your amazing Son, our Savior Jesus. In his name we pray. Amen. So at this time, would everybody rise and ask Mr. Smith if he would lead us in pledge. Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'd like to welcome the staff and members of the public for attending our meeting tonight. This is the first meeting of the new school year, the 2026-27 school year. So before we consider approving tonight's agenda, please be advised of the following: that Tennessee Statute and Board Policy 1400 states that every meeting of the board shall be open to the public except where law allows for a closed session. Agendas for the board meeting are posted on the district's website at www.whitecoastschools.net, and the agendas are posted at least 3 days prior to each meeting. The Public Acts of 2023, Chapter number 300, and Board Policy 1404 state that each board meeting shall include an agenda item reserved for public comment, as well as the conditions in which those wishing to comment will be recognized. A sign-up sheet is made available prior to the beginning of each regular meeting for those wishing to speak. Individuals who signed up prior to the start of the regular meeting who wish to speak during the portion of the agenda will be recognized in the order listed on the sign-up sheet at the designated time. Public comments may consist of agenda items as well as matters that are relevant to the White County School Board's jurisdiction. Per policy, the total allotted time for public comment will be 30 minutes, and each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Delegations shall select only one individual to speak on their behalf unless otherwise determined by the board. It should not be expected the board take action upon any matter brought up during public comment period during tonight's meeting unless it was on an agenda item. The public is encouraged to reach out to the representative with questions or comments about district matters. Board meetings are streamed with the help of our central technology office staff and for live or recorded viewing, and the links are provided on the district's website. Attending and or speaking during tonight's meeting implies consent for comments and appearances to be used. So before we consider tonight's agenda, does anyone have a conflict of interest on any agenda item that's being considered tonight?
Mr. Chair, as I do each and every meeting, I want to disclose that my wife is a educator in this system, but no conflict of anything on the agenda tonight. Just the comments that you hear from me tonight will be in the best interest of the White County Schools, students, staff, and then the community, and they are of my own opinion.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Ms. Officer.
So I don't have a conflict, but my husband is employed by the district, but anything that I say tonight is my opinion and mine alone.
Thank you, Ms. Officer.
Mr. Chair, my wife is employed by the high school. There is no conflict on the agenda, and my thoughts and opinions are mine and mine alone.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So, Ms. Sims asked that the meeting minutes reflect that Mr. McDonald, Ms. Officer, and Mr. Smith all identified that they have spouses working for the district, but nothing on the agenda for tonight's meeting would constitute a conflict for them. So with that, we'll move forward with the next item on the agenda, and that's approval for the agenda for tonight's meeting. Board members, you've had an opportunity to look at the agenda and review that. For note, there are 3 items that have been added to new business: the White County Volleyball fundraiser request, the MOU for ABNA Therapist Partnership, and our policy 64053, and then also a policy that was omitted during our policy report, policy 5110. Those items would recognize that need to be addressed tonight that were not on the agenda prior to its publication. So at this time, would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. McDonald. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Any discussion? Also, just note that item number 8, agenda item number 8, recognition of Ms. Sackett during tonight's meeting. She's not able to attend, so that agenda item will be we'll move past that when we get to that point of our agenda. Okay, a motion and a second for approval of the agenda for the meeting. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on agenda, and per policy, anytime that we have discussion, deliberation regarding director's contract, that would be first item of business. So that was, we did publicize that prior to tonight's meeting. It was announced at our board meeting on June the 11th that we will be considering director's contract tonight. So board members, provided in your packet was our director's contract, the current contract that we're operating under. Thought it appropriate time for us to review that. If there's any action that board wants to take regarding changes, modifications, obviously this is mutually agreed upon contract between ourselves and the director, but we give us opportunity tonight to review the contract, and if there's any changes that we wish to make, we could do so at this time. So open floor for any comments, questions, discussion.
Just a question or maybe some clarity. The current contract ends December 31st, 2027. And this may be a question for even the director. Does it make better sense for that to end at the end of June than December, given how searches are done? What's your thoughts?
In
opinions?
my discussions with TOS, the Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents, that's generally the case. It's usually not advantageous for school districts to end a contract in the middle of a school year.
That's what I was thinking.
And you would probably be starting a search at the beginning of a school year. So for a lot of reasons, obvious reasons, that's not always advantageous. It can happen whenever, but most end June 30th with a start date of July 1.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, wasn't there a reason why we moved from January 1 to December 31 on the last go around in 2024? Wasn't there some reason why we did that? I can't recall back to that.
Mr. McDonald, I'm going to let our director speak to that because that was several years ago. And
It was just the timing of that event. I had requested the board to ask the board to renew my contract or address my contract at that time, and it was in the late fall, early winter of that year, and so that's when it was renewed, and so it reset the final date of the contract. So it just was the timing of the year that it was addressed. So there was some talk at that point about the pushing it forward and waiting until the middle of the year, and there was conversation about the evaluation process, and there was some questions there, but ultimately it was renewed around Christmas of that year, and so that's what set the timing for.
Okay. So I guess the elephant in the room that everybody wants to know is what are your plans? I mean, do you want a contract extension? Are you going to have your time in? What are your plans and what are your thoughts on the contract?
Well, nobody likes working year to year, and so I'm about halfway through this contract. So, I mean, I'm quite happy where I am right now, and happy with the direction the district is going. I certainly don't take credit for all the success we've had, but I'm certainly proud of the accomplishments we've had in our school district, and I'd be glad to lead our district moving forward. You know, I don't know what the future holds, but you know, I think I like the idea of having more years than less if they're available. So, you know, if that's what the board should choose. So, like I said, I'm certainly proud of where we are and what we've accomplished as a team, and would be proud to lead it in the foreseeable future.
I know most educators' goal is 30 years. Will December 31 of 2027, will you have your 30 years in education in?
Yes, I would at that point.
Okay.
Yes.
so, board members, if I could draw your attention to a couple of things that I noticed in reviewing this contract. First of all, in the terms, when I read the terms of the contract and going through and thinking through that every time we do evaluation, it extends the contract by 1 year. So when I read this, when I read this, I'm looking at and thinking that okay, his contract. This paper says that that his contract ends on 31st December 2027, but based on that language, our June 2024 evaluation would have added a year to that contract, extending it through December 2028. The June 2025 evaluation would have extended it through December 2029, and the June 26 evaluation would extend that through December 2030. Now, I may be wrong in that. That came into my mind, so I just want to bring that up tonight for clarity. And Mr. D, you may have something to.
You're
speak to
correct
that.
in the way that reads, but I'm not sure that legally that's valid. want to talk to the board attorney about that. I think for the terms of the contract, it would follow the dates that are set forth as far as the termination date would
And I
go.
also think that we would have had to include that extension of 1 year in the motion when we made the motion to approve his evaluation, to extend his contract by 1 year, if I'm not misreading some things.
So you're correct in the way that was worded, but I'm not sure that that holds up in court. That would be a legal question you want to ask our attorney, but
The reason I bring that up, because I think it's valid for a discussion tonight. I think we need to, for board members, we need to know exactly how long, what are this contract, how long this contract's in effect for. And if it says contract shall, that means that it does not say the contract shall be renewed for additional year, contingent on board vote. The contract says it shall be renewed. So that is a lawyer question to ask, but we could also clarify that in modifying the terms of the contract if need be. And board members, if we do anything regarding that, I would suggest that it be contingent on attorney review. So that was the question that I had regarding the terms. Ms. Officer.
Can you hear me now? I had that same question, but also that next little phrase, not to exceed the maximum allowed by law. So if we're talking to an attorney, what is the maximum?
So
4 years.
yes, thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Sorry.
Maximum contract is 4 years. That's state law. And it's interesting because that contract that we have in place, just looking at that, the 4 years, doing math, excuse me, that's January through December 31st. That might have been the reason why we started the date we started the contract on January 1st. 4 years was the max. I think to the point brought up, if it automatically renews, as what I think the language says, he would always have a contract that's in compliance because it would never be longer than 4 years, but it also would never be less than 4 years.
Right, because the language is very confusing the way it's written. So, yes, if we're talking to the attorney, how could we sort of clarify some of that?
So I think you clarify it by taking out the automatic renewal.
So I guess what you were saying is since we haven't extended his contract every year since 2024, it would be retroactive back to that very first evaluation after the January 1, 2024 contract, correct?
That is the way when I go back now and read that, that's something that I thought that I had correct.
Okay.
And I think for clarity, it probably needs to be addressed.
if you don't mind, I've actually reached out to the board attorney
Thank
as we
you.
were
I saw
working through
that.
this. Yeah, we talked about this when this originally came up. So in essence, that last sentence of that section would perennially keep me in a 4-year contract as long as my evaluation was satisfactory. But that really circumvents the law or the nature of way that was supposed to be. So the max could be 4 years. So anyway, that should be really eliminated in any future contract. In a court of law, they're going to go by the terms of the start and dates of the contract. So as of right now, it's set to end on 31st of December 2027. So a max of 4 years, and there can't be any automatic renewal of the contract.
All right, thank you, because I think that's clarity we need. We need to understand what there shouldn't be any ambiguity on a contract like this. Board members, if nothing else, I think we should consider if the director is in agreement to this, to clear that up, so that way we know definitively without question, when the contract starts, when the contract ends. But if we choose to do something regarding the terms, then we can work all that in as far as that that language goes, and make that part of our action.
I guess one question, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate you putting this on the agenda for this meeting. Is this something you want to get done before the new board comes on board? Because you're going to essentially have 3 new members coming on in September. So, I mean, this is pretty expedient that we need to get something done. So we're going to need to move pretty steadfastly on this.
Mr. McDonald, I didn't have any agenda as far as when we would do this contract. It was something that I said we need to address.
Right. Just
so happened to be now.
But I think it's a good idea, because this board has worked with him in this 4-year term that he's in now, and been very involved with his contract and with his evaluation. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, and I'll tell you another reason why I thought it's important to bring this up is, as I've said in public before, the White County School District is the hottest school district in the state of Tennessee, and our results are proving that. And that has happened consecutive years, high performance in our state testing, and we've received high performance. One of 22 across state districts across the whole state that got a high performance bonus from the state of the tune of $1 million. And from my standpoint, yes, we have recognized the director in his salary for the job that he's done, but that's also to get to, in my opinion, market for what the position should be, how it should be compensated, and we haven't done anything to recognize the accomplishments that have been done over these past 3-4 years. So, from my opinion, from my standpoint, a contract extension based on the success that we've had as a district, to his point, it's the district as a whole that are achieving that, and that's teachers, administrators, students, and whatnot. They're the one that made it happen, but at the end of the day, you do have to have somebody pointing people in the right direction and identifying what's important and motivating in that. And to me, I think that is our director. That's the role they serve. To me, I think that's worthy of some type of acknowledgement. And if it's not financial compensation, contract extension, in my opinion, would be in order. It's called rewarding results.
Mr. Chair, if I do some calendar math, current contract ends December of 27. If we were to entertain extension to June 30 of 2030, that's a 2.5-year extension, which essentially from today would be 4 years, if I do the math right.
I would agree with that, yes.
Which is what was done in January of '24 was an additional 4 years, essentially.
Correct. And just one thing we have learned through conversation with the board attorney is that we're not really given an extension. Basically, what we're doing is we're doing a new contract.
Gotcha.
So just for clarity, and I think everybody, just make sure we're all clear on that, is that any time in this setting, we're not doing addendums to contracts. It's that we're going to put a new contract in place.
I guess the question that I would have, is there anything currently in this contract, Mr. D, that you would like to see changed? Any language other than the recurring board evaluation extension? Is there any other changes to this contract that you want to make and want to present to us tonight?
No, I'm certainly thankful for the compensation. I did not ask for that, but I appreciate the board's support in that. And there's not a lot I'm looking to change there. I've thought about it. The only thing, if there was a possibility of maybe the personal days situation, I don't get those, but maybe I get vacation days, as there's a way to. I don't use them all now, so I don't know if that would benefit me either. I'm not really asking for any more compensation. I'm certainly not asking for any financial compensation, but and I think I get adequate vacation days. I don't use all of them that I have now anyway. So there's not. I guess the answer is no, really, but I would just be interested in years. It's just more comforting to know that you have years in place than to be working year to year. And it's certainly, I think, in the board's interest, as we said earlier, to not be renewing or looking for a superintendent in the middle of the year. So that's part of the advantage to the school board. So I don't think there's anything new that I would ask for in the contract.
I can ask another question. If we were to make a motion to establish a new contract that went through June 30th of 2030, would we then enter a negotiation with the director if he wanted more, or he wanted less, or is it basically we say it, we approve it, we're done?
So the contract is mutual. So basically, there's input from it's typically the executive committee gets together and works out the details of a proposal, bring to the board. In a sense, we have not done that. The justification from behind that, Mr. Smith, is that we address compensation in May leading up towards budget. So in a sense, that was he's let us know his feelings on the compensation, so did not feel there was any negotiation there. He did not ask for us to review this contract this evening. So I would assume that there would not be any need for negotiation. So I think this is just from our standpoint to say we're looking at, where are we with our director? What's the contract? Where does it stand? And then have the discussion. Do we think that performance, and this brought up because of, I think the performance that we've, as a district, we've achieved over the past several years. I think that is a gesture of goodwill to our directors, saying we recognize that and offer this up. And again, if he wants to say, okay, that's great, now we want to go negotiate, then we would have to respect that and follow through. But until he says that's what he wants to do, then I'm going to proceed that we're making a decision on extending the contract.
Mr. Smith, I think if you look at line 21 in this contract, if you made a motion tonight to do what you were wanting to do, and you said July 1 of 2026 to June 30th of 2030, whatever it is. Yeah, I think so. That contract would make this contract null and void. That would be his new contract starting date. So I think any other contract supersedes, this employment contract would set forth, the new contract would go through 2030 if that's so how you wanted to proceed with that. And correct me if I'm wrong there, Mr. Chair.
No, sir, you're correct.
Okay.
And that's in a sense what the, our attorney was speaking to.
And I
that clause.
also like the contract termination agreements where we have the mutual agreement between the board and the director, so that if he gets 2 years into a new contract and he's like, hey, I'm ready to retire, then he has that opportunity that we have, that we as a board and a director come to that mutual agreement that it's time for, he wants to retire, he wants to walk away, then he has that possibility to do that.
That's correct. And, you know, to that point, Mr. McDonald, thank you for bringing that up, that the contract is one which it gives causes for termination, and termination doesn't mean that you were fired. Termination means that you want to retire, or termination means that mutually both parties agreed to go a different direction. But there are five conditions in which that can happen. Mutual agreement's one of them. For cause, removal from office based on statute. And then you can have a without cause that from the board standpoint, and then unilateral termination that the director may take. So it is very it's mutual both ways as far as exit and exit clauses in the contract. I think one thing in our regarding the language, it talks about, and this is regarding compensation, if I'm not mistaken. Bear with me just a second. If you're looking at clause 4 regarding compensation, it has a minimum salary minimum increase, and each time an annual evaluation reflects the director has met or exceeded expectations of the board. One thing that I don't think's defined, I don't think we've defined what meets expectation. I could be wrong, but I know we use the scale that we use a 1 through 4 scale, but it probably should be more defined. That's a thought that I had. Mr. D, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, Mr. Chairman, we've discussed that in the past, and then the current system is the one that's widely used. I don't know if it's good, bad, or ugly, but it's one that's most widely used by TOS represented school districts across the state, and it served me well, but I understand the need to maybe look at other platforms or programs.
Well, I'm not necessarily speaking to a different platform. If we use that platform, that's okay. But at the end of the day, we got to figure out what's the threshold. Is meeting expectations 3? Is it 2.5? Is it 2? I know that if there's a score that's below, the score 2 or below, that board members have to give justification to why it was scored that way. But if it's so that's something board members we need to. That's part of the contract. So for clarity for all parties, we need to understand what does meeting expectations mean, and that may be that we pull the policy up on pull that policy up and modify the policy where that states that.
Mr. Chair, could be just as easy to, if you look at 1, 2, 3, and 4, coming from my world, 4 would be exceeds, 3 would be meets, 2 would be needs improvement, 1 would be unsatisfactory. And if we modified clause 4 to reflect that the director must have an average of a three or higher to have ability for a raise. Would that not cover?
Yeah,
Leave the evaluation system the way it is, we just modify the contract.
Add that language. Would that be composite 3?
That's what I would suggest, or at least entertain conversation about that.
Okay, so, so here's how, board members, here's how I think we should handle this. We understand what's on the table as far as, we've been asked to consider his contract, and we probably would need to make a motion at this point in time. We've had some general conversation, but we probably need to make a motion on any type of action that we want to take. So based on our discussion on reviewing the contract where we're at, some of the points that brought up, if there's any motion that wouldn't be made at this time, I would entertain that.
I make a motion that, sorry, I gotta put my eyes back on. That under, well, given your past statement that this isn't a change to the current contract, we're creating a new one, that we create a new contract as of today that extends through June 30 of 2030, remove the last sentence in clause 1 and modify or change the sentence in clause 4 that states each time an annual evaluation reflects that the director has a composite of 3 or higher on the evaluation, with those being the only 3 changes. Is that a lot?
Mr. Smith, that's a lot. So
You're welcome.
I'm going to ask if I could state this, and then if you're in agreement, we'll move forward. Have a motion to extend the director's contract. Have a motion to offer the director a 4-year contract beginning July 1st, 2026, or today, July 9th, 2026 through June 30th, 2030. That's the motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Officer. Any discussion? I think now is the time that we would work on amending the motion to include those other items if you wish to do that. And if you need to make the amendments, Mr. Smith, to your own motion, that'll be fine.
A little confused, but I'll try again. So, amending that motion to remove the last line in clause 1 completely.
Okay, so
I must be doing this wrong.
all right. So Mr. Smith makes a motion that to his renewing the contract based on. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. The motion is current language in the contract a 4-year contract based on current language. Is that clarified? Okay. Any board member have any question with what's on the floor?
Yeah, I think you've muddied the water for a lot of people. So,
All right. Why is that?
so the motion on the floor that's been a motion and a second is for a contract for today's date, July 9, 2026 through June 30th, 2030, as the contract reads right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's the motion on the floor. And
Correct.
if Mr. Smith wants to amend that motion to take out some language in the different sections, are we going to do that one at a time?
Correct.
Or are we going to do that
Correct.
multiple
We're going
sentences
to take.
removed?
I'm going to suggest that we do one per motion, so that way we can we have clarity
Okay.
on what we're taking out.
Okay.
And I'll do my best to repeat it. Ms. Fowler's over here taking notes, so I think we'll stay organized. Okay, so Have a motion to remove language in clause 1 that annually upon satisfactory evaluation, the contract shall be renewed for an additional year, not to exceed the maximum allowed by law. So that's the motion of the language to come out of the existing contract. Do I have a second? No, because you,
Man.
he's making the amendment.
Yes.
He's making an amendment. I've got his motion. I need a second. Second by Ms. Officer. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the amendments specify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes on the amendment. So now we're looking at a contract from July 9th, 2026 through June 30th, 2030, based on the existing language of the contract with amending the last line of the terms of the contract clause.
So moved.
All right,
We've
we've
already
already
done-
passed
we've already
that. So
done
is there any other changes you want to make to this contract? We'll consider that in a motion.
Yes,
Okay.
there is.
All right,
In clause 4, rather than, changing the language where it states each time an annual evaluation reflects that the director has met or exceeded the expectations of the board, it should read that reflects that the director has a composite of 3 or higher on the annual evaluation.
You need to put that in a form of an amendment to the contract.
I need to put that into a formal amendment to the contract.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor where that we amend the language of the current contract to reflect a composite score of 3.0 as the designator for the as the meeting expectations designator for the director. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. McDonald. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Pardon? Have it, let it reflect that we have one opposed to that amendment. Any other changes to the language of the contract or the extension? Excuse me, not the extension, the contract. All right, so for clarity, board members just want to make sure that that we understand what the motion is. The motion is a new contract with our director beginning July 9th, 2026 through June 30th, 2030, where that is the language in the contract has been amended to remove the annually upon satisfactory evaluation, the contract shall be renewed for an additional 1 year, not to exceed the maximum allowed by law. And also adding, so that would be removed, and then adding in the compensation that a satisfactory evaluation is a composite score on the director's evaluation of 3.0 or higher. So that's the motion. We have a motion, and a second on the floor. Any other discussion?
I just want to make a statement, and I want to, you look in the room tonight, and there's supervisors in the room tonight, and I just think that's a testament to Mr. D, and I want to say thank you, Mr. D, for the last, 9 years that you and I have worked together as board member and director. We're in the middle of July, and you have almost every one of your supervisors sitting in the room. I think that's a testament to the work ethic that they have and that you've installed in this position. And I want to say first off to you guys out there, I appreciate everything y'all have done. There's some new faces that are coming on board as supervisors, and it's going to be a great year. Lots of changes in our district. And and I think we're going nowhere but up. And it's going to be hard to go up from where we've been, but I think we're going to do that, and I appreciate your leadership over the last 9 years that I've got to work with you. So appreciate all that you've done and the strides that this board has made as far as being recognized across the state. Getting to serve on the TSBA board got to bring a lot of attention to White County schools. And just so you know, those folks in Nashville know who White County is. They know because of these folks in this room, these folks that you're standing on their shoulders that are doing the work in the trenches every day. And it's great to know that a little county in the middle of this state is one of the best in the whole state at what we do. And I appreciate everybody in the room and especially Mr. D for what you've done.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Any other discussion? Yeah, you did. That was very sentimental. Appreciate that. And will meaning heartfelt. All right, have motion and second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, sir. Mr. D, and look forward to working with you on the years to come. All right,
Thank you.
next item on our agenda is consent agenda. Board members, you've had opportunity to discuss that in our work session. For tonight, don't know if I gave you the opportunity. If there's any item in the consent agenda that we need to pull out, we should have done that at the approval of the agenda for tonight. But if there's anything you need to pull out for discussion, we'll move it to new business. Otherwise, consent agenda, we would be at approval of the board meeting minutes from June. Policy report, we are foregoing second reading on the following policies: 1400, 1403, 1404, 1905, 2200, 4213, 4215, 4301, 4600, 4603, 4605, 5106, 5200, 5201, 5302, 5303, 5600, 5801, 6200, 6202, 6205, 6303, 6306, 6318, 6412, 64053, 6506. Those are be going for the public's knowledge. Those will be going second reading because they need to be in, policies need to be in place prior to the start of the school year. Then the policies on first reading we're approving are 2100, 4100, 4300, 5104, 5501, 6100, 6301, 6304, 63041. There was no budget report that June and July budget reports will be coming in August. We did review budget amendments and transferred, personnel report, threat assessment report, TLN report, and multiple fundraising requests that were all approved through the proper channels. So those are consent agenda items for tonight. Any objections on those consent agenda items?
I do just have one question. It's probably a Mr. Markham question. Since we passed our budget here, has the county commission passed the county budget? It's full, done, everything's done, we're good to go. Perfect, thank you.
Okay, if any objections on the items in our consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, items in consent agenda will be considered passed on unanimous vote. Next item on our agenda would be item number 9, election of school board officers and TNL representatives. Per policy, every July we start with representing our school board officers. By law, we're required to have a chairman. Then we have vice chair and TLN representatives. So this time, board members, we will entertain nominations for election of school board officers, starting with chairman.
I nominate Lisa Officer as chair.
Have it. All right, thank you, Mr. Mr. Smith. Ms. Officer has said she's not able to accept that position at this time.
I would nominate Bob Young. You've done a great job. Keep it up.
Second.
Motion that all nominations cease.
A motion that all nominations cease for chairman,
And you be elected by acclamation.
unless there's objection.
there's-
The chairman will be assumed by Mr. Young by acclamation for another year, and appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. And we'll go at another year, but I think after that, it's time that new board should have a new chairman. So, but be glad to serve for another 12. Need to this time elect a vice chair.
I'm going to nominate John Smith.
Have a nomination for Mr. John Smith to serve as vice chair. To have a second nomination. Second nomination. It's all right. All right. I would second that Mr. Smith serve. So what? I'd also make a motion that
Quick question.
yes, you have to carry the backpack.
That's a given. This doesn't automatically assume that I would move into the chair role next year, right? We're
We
going to do
can-
elections again.
We can work that in.
That's not what I asked. I'm just,
No, Mr.
making
Smith.
that
This is
clarity.
one.
Thank
This is
you.
1 year for you to serve in position as vice chair.
We could change policy and do it as some
Let's vote.
boards
vote.
across the state do, that it is on a rotating basis.
Okay. Well, you'd have to bring that up in
Yeah,
August.
I'm
okay.
good. I don't. August, I'm
you're
done.
leaving.
I'm leaving in August.
Well,
I'm-
but you still have to serve in August, okay? All right, out of respect for our audience, we'll continue on.
Yeah.
So.
Motion, all nominations cease.
All nominations cease.
He's approved by
So,
acclamation.
Mr. Smith, thanks for joining us, serving in roles as vice chair. Next, need to elect a TLN representative. So entertain a motion for TLN representative.
Miss Officer, would you like that job? Would you accept it if nominated? All right, I nominate Miss Officer as the TLN representative.
So, motion to consider Ms. Officer as TLN representative. Do I have any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, 3 for 3. Ms. Officer would be serve as our TLN representative by majority acclamation. I think that's how it would go. So all right, appreciate y'all doing that and taking care of that item of business. Next we'll move on to the next item, and that's North Spring Street road sign. Board members, you may or may not know this, but the strip mall center that's in front of the Career Academy, there is a sign there. It used to say Food Line. It doesn't say Food Line there anymore, but that sign just so happens to be on board property. And so if you drive by that sign, you can see it needs some maintenance, repair, and some TLC. So we also have had somebody reach out to us regarding that sign for future consideration, but I'm going to let directors speak to that, why that's on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had the owner of Spring Street Dental Care, Dr. Heath Phillips, reached out to me. He is preparing to build a new facility on the corner of North Spring and that's not Allen Drive, is it? It's what is that? Breeding Drive, thank you. Right there alongside of the Career Academy. So he'll be building his practice there, and he inquired about utilizing the sign that used to be the Food Line sign that the school board owns. Kind of surprised I haven't done anything with that as of yet, but now that it's called our attention to it, I can't unsee it. So it needs some love. I have reached out to Martin Signs to get an estimate just of what it would cost to itemize the cost of having that painted, having the new skins put in it, what it would cost to have LED lights reinstalled, so we'd have some idea what the expense would be. I guess tonight I'm just asking for permission to explore the idea of perhaps leasing this sign to Dr. Phillips. He wants to, he was interested in doing some sort of joint effort. Maybe the top sign would say his dentistry business, and then the middle sign, there's a smaller sign halfway down, would say something about, you know, Go Warriors or something along those lines. But similar to the way that we lease space, advertising space on the side of our school buses, we would be leasing advertising space on this road sign. So I guess tonight, well, I'm asking permission just to explore the idea of leasing advertisement option with Dr. Phillips.
So, board members, I would recommend that we broaden that request out to say, explore options for that sign, whether it's Dr. Phillips or whether it's anybody else. It needs to be, it's an eyesore, it needs to be fixed, whether he wants to do anything with it or not. So, I'd like to make a motion that, we ask the director to look for, bring us a proposal for options for, improving that sign.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
So how did we not know that we own that sign?
Well, I think I think I knew that, I just had forgotten it, but it actually sits on the side of the road of the sidewalk that is connected to that little strip mall, which we do not own. And so I think just by the geography, it would make you think that it belonged to that strip mall and not the Food Lion. But if you actually look at the property lines, it is part of our property. And he, as he builds his facility there, he's also inquired about having access off of our driveway that's to the Career Academy, rather than have the access coming off the front of North Spring Street. So he has an interest in that too. So we've not talked numbers right now. This time next month at the next meeting, I will have figures for you that you can look and see what it would cost to have the sign upgraded, to have the poles painted. I've asked them to itemize all those things out, but just didn't want to go any further down the road without the board's approval or knowledge.
I think it's fine to get some ideas. I do question if the sign's even needed, because the high school sign's right there on the corner. But to Mr. Chair's point, having some options would be good.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, needed for us, leasing it out to him, that makes sense.
Yes, exactly. I think that's why I hadn't moved on that before. I didn't want to cause confusion, because if I put White County High School there, people are going to turn into the Career Academy and think, visitors are going to think they're at the high school when they're really just at a part of the high school. And so I think that's why I didn't deal with that in the first place, and then I just kind of slipped my mind over time. But I like the idea of being able to maybe, support business, make our community look better, and still bring some attention to our high school, if there's a way to do that. But I will have figures for you to look at next month. Just wanted to have something I could go back to Dr. Phillips and say, yes, we can have a further conversation, or no, we can't.
Okay, and just for clarity, we're looking for proposals for options for improving that sign. Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is district update. Mr. Stromberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, I just want to thank the board. I appreciate that. You're looking at my contract, my compensation. Those aren't things that I was asking for, but I certainly am appreciative of, and I appreciate your faith in me as a leader. I, again, will never accept credit for all the great things that are going on in our school system. It's due to these people here and all the kids and staff in our schools, but I'm proud to lead them, and certainly willing to continue to do that. So thank you for your faith in me. Personnel reports are in your packet. We're currently interviewing for a couple of certified teaching positions. We've had a couple of classified positions that are still open as well, but we have great applicants available, and we feel confident we'll have all of our vacancies filled before school begins. I want to welcome a couple new district supervisors that are here with us tonight. Ms. Rebecca Ryan is our new supervisor of elementary curriculum, and Ms. Brittany King is our supervisor of federal programs. So congratulations to them and welcome aboard. Academically, we have received raw data from last year's TCAP testing, this past season. Once again, White County has scored very well. In the Upper Cumberland region, it's always my goal to be in the top 5, because I think we're in the top 5 of enrollment, and so it's kind of an unwritten rule. We want to be in the top 5 in the Upper Cumberland in all categories. White County scored in the top 5 in 16 out of 17 tested categories, and in the 17th one, we were number 6. We are number 1 in 7 of those categories. We're number 2 in 7 more. So I'm very pleased with our schools, and you should be as well. Again, hats off to the hardworking folks in this room and the people in the schools, and certainly our students and families. It takes all of us working together as a school community, and we have much to be proud of in White County schools. Behaviorally, the Tennessee Tiered Support Center, that's TSC, in partnership with the Tennessee Department of Education, has named White County Schools a RTI 2B Community Builders Award recipient. This is the highest honor a district can receive in the state in the RTI 2B model program. This Community Builder Award honors districts that show unwavering district-level commitment to strengthening and aligning their tiered student support systems. White County Schools stands out as a model of what's possible when a district fully embraces the power of aligned tiered supports. And it says that White County's work sets the high standard across Tennessee for their leadership. That reminds us when supports are unified and student-centered, schools and communities thrive together. So very proud of that award, and special thanks to Mr. Richard Bumbelow and Ms. Farrah Griffith for their hard work in leading that effort. Funding, on the funding note, White County High School was fortunate to once again receive the full amount of $50,000 from the Perkins Reserve Grant. White County is one of only 58 districts in the state to receive this financial award. This money will go to support various CTE programs at WCHS. Thanks to Mr. Lane Ward and his team at White County High School for their hard work in securing these grant funds. Legislatively, there are many new policy changes, as you've heard, on the agenda, and they're a result of this recent General Assembly. These policies were addressed further with the school board, will be addressed further with the school board next week at the Summer Law Conference. Athletically, the TSSAA dead period is over, and fall sports practices are in full swing. WCHS football kicks off in Soddy Daisy in 6 weeks, and fall sports competitions will begin the first days of school. As far as building projects are concerned, the Doyle project is complete with only a few touch-up items to remain. The wall cubbies that were left out of the original plans at Bondycroft are currently being installed. We'll be soliciting designs for a secure vestibule upgrade at Doyle and a high school office upgrade in the near future. Calendar update, the school board's summer law conference, as I mentioned, is next week, July 17th and 18th. The first full day of school will be Tuesday, August 4th. The next school board meeting is August 13th, and I hope everyone will enjoy the last few days of summer. This completes the director's report, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Stromberg. Do we have any questions, comments for our director regarding a district update? I would say just one more bit of evidence of why that supports my comment that White County School District is the hottest district in the state. Award recognition, reward and recognition. Just thank you to all that serve. Just you should feel proud about your accomplishments. All right. If nothing else regarding for our director and district update, then we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. That's public comment per policy 1404. This is time reserved for public comment. Sign-up sheet was provided start of the meeting, and for those wishing to address the board, there are no one has signed up to be recognized tonight, so that will move us down to the next item on our agenda, which is new business. In addition to the abundance of fundraisers we reviewed in our work session and covered in our consent agenda, the White County High School volleyball team has added a fundraiser request that came in after the agenda was posted and after the packet was provided. So I think there is an addition that they want to add to their fundraisers. They're not substituting. This would be an additional fundraising that they're requesting, and receive the proper review and recommendation. So
Motion to approve.
motion to approve the White County High School volleyball fundraiser request. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is to review the memo of understanding for ABA therapist partnership, along with as part of our policy 64053. So, Mr. Stromberger, you did a good job putting that together. I'll let you walk us through that, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did a good job of hiring Stephanie Davis, who put this together, and she worked very hard. And really want to call your attention to really pages, I think 5, let's see, yeah, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. Those are the actual MOU that we'll be issuing to the ABA companies. And similar to what we have done in the past, but this entire packet will be a comprehensive package that we share with these groups to make sure that they understand our expectations within the schools. It gives us good exit clauses should we need them, and set forth, and it actually ties the policy, has the policies that are accompanying this as well. So we want the board to be aware and approve the MOU. And I, again, appreciate Dr. Davis working hard on this and putting it together so that we can not only address this with the new ABAs that are coming in, but the ones that we're currently partnering with.
Thank you, Mr. Stromberger, for that explanation. And Dr. Davis, do thank you on behalf of the board for putting that together. I did not mean to leave you out. So, board members, what we were would be the MOU for ABA therapist partnership per the template that was provided.
How many current ABA companies do we serve? Or that do actually serve the schools? Perfect, thank you.
So, just for clarity, we're approving a specific MOU, and then we're approving the policy for all the MOUs and our policy for how we engage with those that are providing the
Well,
service.
there's already policy in place that's accompanying with this. We'd be asking you to approve the MOU template tonight that we can use with our with all of our partners.
Okay.
And there's procedures that go along with this that we will add, that we will give to the partners. But what we're asking of the board is to approve the template for the MOU.
Okay. So, board members, do we have clarity on that? Approving the MOU template and the policies that go along with that.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. Have a second? Second by Ms. Fowler. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next time on the agenda is we'll go back to policies, new policy recommendations. It gives us the option to, on policy 5110, which was omitted in our policy report for second reading. This particular policy allows district to pay unused time or accrued time for vacation, sick leave benefits to the estate or beneficiary of a deceased employee. So that is the recommendation that gives us the option to do that. So if, what we'd be considering tonight is amending our policy to do that, given the fact that we have that option now. Given the circumstances of recent days and weeks, this may apply to recent events, so we recommend foregoing second reading on this policy as well.
Just one quick question is, I mean, does this apply, this applies to current teachers who may expire during their term, but also retired teachers that are still, that doesn't have, I mean, they're still,
No,
that
they'd have to
doesn't.
be current employees, but actually this extends the option to cover all staff. So this was already in place last year to cover teachers.
Okay,
But they're expanding it to cover our support staff as well.
okay,
So
okay. That makes
that's the
sense.
change in this policy
That
this year.
makes sense. Okay, thank you. I'll move to adopt this
Okay.
with, and forego second reading and make it policy tonight.
All right, so I have a motion for approval of policy revisions 5110. Mr. McDonald, I have a second. Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Policy revisions 5110 go into effect, foregoing second reading. So that takes us down to next time on our agenda, which is old business. We have no old business for tonight on tonight's agenda. That leads us to Chairman's comments. TSB Summer Law Conference will be next week in Gatlinburg from July 17th to July 18th. If you have any questions about your accommodations, please see Mr. Drumbarger. Our next school board meeting will be August 13th here at Board of Education. Central office work session will begin at 5 o'clock and a regular board meeting will be at 6. This time I entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion by Ms. Fowler. Do I have a second? By Mr. McDonald. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Everyone have a good